matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
We some lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening. Time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening. Time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let them boys get loose. It's a new day, Honolulu Blue got the boys on a crusade. Campbell throwing dukes, got golf at the Wings game. Hear his name, replay and replay and replay. Got him off the leash every Sunday. David Montgomery, Gibbs on the runway. Take a shot at Jameson and stumble out the hallway. Running in the hutch any day, that's a bad day. They don't wanna bring us up, keep us off the airways. America's team, sick of dealing with these cowboys. Keep it in your hostess, you've been cheating like an off day. We got Slim Shady, you too caught up in Beyonce. Welcome to Detroit, all that grit can go a long way. Panay drawing lines in the ground like a driveway. Trucking up L's at a porter, that's a bad name. Sinners need saints, put our faith in a mom's hands. Lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening. Time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day.
Welcome to the One Ass Cheek and Three Toes Show. How y'all doing, fellas?
Good. Great.
Man, you watching those highlights, you would think we would have won the game. But unfortunately, the Lions did go down 42-45 to the Buffalo Bills, a good Buffalo Bills team to give credit to.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is probably going to win the MVP. Offense took a seat in the first quarter, and then after that, they just went lights out. Jared Goff was pretty much flawless, 5 touchdowns. Even one to Dan Skipper, finally got a touchdown to a lineman. So you got the prop bet going there. Tim Patrick got another touchdown, which, man, he's really becoming a threat in the red zone. Like, that's awesome to see. That's just another weapon they have to cover. But let's talk about it. I'm not used to talking about losses. That was the second loss in 11 games. You know, it's a hell of a run that the Lions went on, especially with all the injuries they've sustained since that. And we'll talk about that too. But give me your thoughts on the game. How you felt afterwards. Be honest.
You know, it was a lot of emotions for the game. It was, you know, for one, I knew it was going to be a hard game playing up against another Super Bowl contender and possibly the best AFC team. But losing some players that we did, it just seemed like the Lions had an off day. And on top of that, they piled up some more injuries. They didn't really feel well about it. But throughout the week, I heard Dan Campbell talk. And I heard him give out speeches and not give up really too much of a game plan, but kind of encourage the city and encourage his players as well. So it made me feel a little bit better. But the game overall, I mean, stuff happens. Shit happens, right?
It's part of the NFL, man. You can't win every game, and all these teams are coming out to get your best shot. You know, and Buffalo had their best shot, and they hit us in the mouth, man. And hey, we at least fought. I'll give the Lions credit, man. At 14-0, they could have easily packed it in and got their ass whooped. And they kept fighting in this game. As depleted as that defense was, offense really stepped up. We just didn't make enough plays. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed or I really wasn't disappointed. It was the Buffalo Bills. They've been playing lights out. Yeah, they lost to LA, but that was a shootout too.
Yeah.
And it was just the defense for the Lions just showed reason why that they could be beat in this situation with a good team. Mm-hmm. And Brady, you got to give credit to Joe Brady. That dude caught a hell of a game. I mean, the two drives were all focused against our weak linebacking core. And because we didn't, that was where we got decimated with a lot of injuries. So that helped out a lot for them, and they did a good job. I saw the game plan really for Buffalo that was what worked for them. They stopped us twice. That's what you got to do with the Lions. You got to stop them because you keep going and letting them score. You're not going to win that shootout. You're not going to win a shootout against the Lions. So you got to at least stop them twice. That's what we do. That's what our defense is programmed to do. We're gonna beat you. We're gonna get at least a couple stops out of you, but we're gonna try to score every time we get the ball. That's
Exactly.
Buffalo. That was what Buffalo was thinking about. So they did a very good job in their game planning with the Lions. The Lions, AG, I think after the first drive when they got the touchdown, that's where I was kind of disappointed in AG. Come on, why don't you make some kind of change? Put a go to a nickel and play a 5 cornerback set so you can cover one of those damn running backs coming out the backfield because the linebackers aren't doing it. So and he didn't do that. So whatever. And then Amon St. Brown kind of disappointed me because he needed to hold on to the ball. And this is something that I'm kind of worried about with Amon St. Brown too. He's fumbled at least 2 or 3 times this year in bad situations. Now they're winning. So it's not a big problem as far as that's concerned. But as an individual player, that kind of concerns me. You got to hold on to the ball, bro. There's no reason why you should have got that.
Yeah, that's a rare situation for St. Brown to fumble the ball, but it was a critical moment because the Lions had a lot of momentum and probably would have scored another touchdown on there and got the game
went up 35.
Buffalo
went up 35-14 in that point, and that's where the game was kind of just.
It was pretty much over. Yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, Amon Ra was facing battle. He was battling food.
Yeah, he was pretty sick, but he's a gamer, man.
He still went out there, had 179 yards.
He'll tell you first and foremost he shouldn't have that ball.
I think it was like 193 or something like that in a touchdown. Like that one play that you saw in the intro where he got the beautiful throw by Goff, by the way. He just fitted that boy. You see how many Buffalo defenders were around Amon? He was like the only guy there.
Goff's been throwing some good balls, man. A lot of good balls.
Can I break some news to y'all really quick?
What's up?
So today's inactives. Did anybody see it? David Montgomery, obviously, Kwan Alexander, Giovanni Manu, Graham Glasgow was out. Kobe Sorsville, Jonah Williams, and Broderick Martin out.
Ooh. So
I didn't hear Emmanuel's.
Mosley's up.
There you go. Someone else I didn't hear.
Who?
Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So we got our defensive back should be fine.
All right. Well, thanks for that news, Jay. We'll get into the injuries and all that in a sec. I just want to wrap up this Bills talk here. So, what are your takeaways from this game?
Takeaways to the game. It was something that we always talked about for these past couple of years, and I think the Achilles heel is still mobile quarterbacks. Obviously, Josh Allen was the best quarterback we played this season by far. Better than Jordan Love, better than Sam Darnold, Williams, all of the quarterbacks we played. And it showed me that whenever you cannot collapse the pocket, and if you do, in rare occasions, mobile quarterbacks are still able to escape, use their legs to extend plays, and make plays down the field. That was something that Josh Allen did. And also, something has to be going on with our offensive line because our team really didn't run the ball very well last week. These past couple of weeks, they haven't ran the ball very well. I'm not sure because – go ahead, B.
To be fair on that point, we were down 14-0 immediately, basically. So we were passing. So that's why we didn't get – see, people don't understand that part. When you're down, you're throwing to catch up. You got to remember something too. Our defense was very rarely, if ever, stopping the offense. So you have to go into a passing mode, and that's the reason why our running game was bad.
We kind of got
actually.
Away from it. Yeah.
We had to get away from it because we were down 14-0, 35-14 at one point. You got to pass the ball.
Think about this last week. Well, obviously 2 weeks ago when they played the Packers, they didn't have the best rushing game of their season as well, and that kind of carried over into this game because if you remember, Buffalo went down and scored right away.
Yeah.
But the Lions still had a game plan to control the ball, steal some possessions with Josh Allen, and they went 3 and out twice.
And these defenses are keying in on stopping the run. They know that the running game is paramount to us, and so give them credit. Packers have a good run defense. Buffalo came in with a good plan to stop our run. Our running game's been off for about maybe 2 or 3 games, but I think a lot of it's because they're just keying in on that run game.
Yeah, I think
they want to make Goff pass more.
Plays a role, but it just kind of showed me that I think the Lions. I don't think they got too complacent, but they needed. It seemed like they needed to just have a wake up call, right? Like you're no longer the team that we thought you were. You're still a great team, everybody still we look at them as a Super Bowl contender, but now you got to work twice as hard.
Well,
now you have to go out here with the injuries you have, and you have to put in double time because
also too,
sorry.
also too, we forgot that the secondary for the Buffalo Bills, they were out like 3 starters.
Yeah.
So in those situations, you expect the team to probably pass more. Yes, the fact is we were down for sure, but I expected the Lions to pass more when you've got 3 starters that are down. Take advantage of that. It's just that we just didn't get any explosive runs. Like that was the big thing, and we haven't had those in a while. And so that's something that Ben Johnson's got to work on. Maybe a screen game. I've been crying for more screens in this team because I think you have the players to do it. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's get into the injuries real quick with this game, and then we're going to go into the next matchup. David Montgomery got hurt. We lost Carlton Davis. Who else got? Aleem McNeil went out of the game. Man, it was just a mash unit that day. Some really serious injuries. We had in that game. We lost 2 players possibly for the rest of the season. David Montgomery looks like he's going to rehab and possibly be back for the divisional. Again, that's the reason why we got to get that 1 seed to give him an extra week to get healthy and ready for that first game we play. What was the biggest impact of who do you feel that has the biggest impact out of all 3 of those injuries?
Aleem McNeil.
Yeah. Aleem McNeil. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, Aleem McNeil is our Dexter Lawrence. He's our Aaron Donald. He's not the player Aaron Donald is, obviously, but he is.
He's impactful. He's impactful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And while I do think we still have a little bit of depth up front right there, you're still going to miss Aleem McNeil because when Aiden Hutchinson went down, I want to say he was leading the defense in QB pressure.
Mm-hmm. He was.
So, that's somebody else is going to have to step up and fill up at least for 50 to 60% of what Aleem McNeil had because I think our pass rush is still good. McNeil was tough. Very tough.
Okay. So final thoughts on this game before we get into the injuries and the inactives and all that?
Well, let's do a couple of things here. This is something that DJ Reader said.
DJ's got to step up now. We need him. We need DJ.
And he said, "Hey, we just lost, man. That's all it is. It happens to this league. Shit, we've been kicking everybody's ass for 12 weeks, and this week it happened to be us. Nobody won no championships today. We just got weeks of the season left, and we got the playoffs. Next week we'll be back. I like that. That's the attitude that you have. And people just think this. The sky ain't falling, okay? And another good comment by our from
head coaching.
Yeah. No.
Everybody was having a come to Jesus moment with the fan base.
Like, we're 12-2. We're in the playoffs. Why the hell is the sky falling for us? Our job is to win, and we're going to continue to do that. Exactly. This is the thing that I took out of this game too. Everybody was going, "Oh my God!" And everybody listens to these stupid ass sports shows that have all these guys saying, "Oh, I don't see the Lions doing anything because they ain't got no defense." And they're totally just leaving out the whole fact that the offense is still good. Yeah, Montgomery's a loss. He is a loss, but you have capable running backs that are backups that are good enough. And Jameer, this isn't the first time Montgomery has been out for a couple of games for a game almost. Mm-hmm. And Jameer has actually flourished more when Montgomery is out.
He has. He played well. He has.
I think the last time Montgomery went out prior to this game, he had like 100 and something yards. He was killing the team. He's a speed guy. He's one of those guys that are he's got that LaDainian Tomlinson kind of speed. He's not as brutish as LaDainian Tomlinson, but he's got that hit or miss where he makes a cut, he's gone. Mm-hmm. And if he don't make that cut, he's still going to get you 3 or 4 yards. That's the kind of guy that Jameer, and he can run through the tackles, between the tackles too. It's not outside the tackles. He can catch the ball outside. So we got no problem in the offense. The offense is not the problem.
Yeah.
I agree.
The way I look at it is that we lost to a better team right now. The injuries, we're not better than Buffalo right now with the injuries. If we have a full stable of our guys, I think we're a better team. But we're not right now. And we lost to a better team. And all I can say is that we'll beat them in the Super Bowl.
B, you said something really that really made me want to stand up and clap. Everybody's listening to analytics and these radio hosts and everything saying, well, the sky is falling. It isn't falling. If anybody's an athlete and they know, obviously talent is what you want. The most talented players out there that gives you the best chance to win. But this Lions team is not giving up on themselves. Nobody in that locker room is holding their head down. Nobody is somber. We're going to keep playing. We're going to keep winning. We're first in the NFC still. We're first in the division still. Let's go out here and win. We have winnable games. We still have
everything's still in front of us, y'all. That's just that simple. It's that simple.
You know,
everything's still in front of us.
Rex Ryan. I did seen an interview with Rex Ryan, and he said that he was like, everybody think that it's over. He was like, dude, you should see how much these players love him. If you don't believe it, go in their locker room and see how much these players love the team, love their coach, love their players. It's a brotherhood there. You can't break up a brotherhood just because of a few injuries.
That's why it was like I call it a come to Jesus moment with the fan base, because when AG comes out, when Dan comes out, when DJ Reader comes out, when Penei Sewell comes out, when whoever else comes out and says stuff, they're doing it because they're like, hey, you were on us when we were winning. We lost the game. If you don't want to be on our wagon, get off it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Simple.
You know?
Simple.
That's
Sometimes you gotta get punched
Dan
in the
Campbell
face.
right there. Sometimes you gotta get punched in the face before you know how to respond. And that's all there is to it.
That's
I
all
mean,
there is to it.
If you thought the Lions, I didn't think my prediction for this season for the Lions was 14-3. They're right at where I wanted them to be right now. They're 12-2. They didn't lose to the two teams that I thought they were going to lose to,
Yeah.
but they did lose 2 games. So
15-2. So I'm still on track.
They still have 3 games left, and 2 of those 3 games are winnable.
Yeah.
I mean, really winnable. It's Chicago
Hopefully
at
winnable.
Chicago and at San Francisco. And then they got to play Minnesota at home. Now, Minnesota's going to be pumped up because if Minnesota manages to beat the 2 teams they got to play next, then they're going to be sitting pretty, and they're going to come at us.
They got to come into our house.
They lose any of the 2 games coming up, though.
They're toast.
They're toast. Yeah, because I don't see the Lions.
It tells me you're probably going to be rooting for the Whackers, which makes me
Let's be
sick to
honest
the
here.
stomach.
Nobody ever roots for injuries, ever. Nobody does.
No.
I think you're a piece of crap if you do root for an injury,
Mhm.
for anybody, for any team. But it's hard for all these teams to stay healthy over these next 3 games and then have to prepare yourself for the playoffs. Everybody's going to be playing their ass off. Everybody's going to be put in positions to where, you're going to go out there and just give it your all. We all have to stay healthy.
Every game matters.
Every single game and every single player matters. So, yes, I look at Philadelphia and be like, they're playing. Look, Philadelphia I think is the biggest threat to the number 1 seed, really more so than Minnesota. But they have to go on the road and play a divisional rival as well in Washington Commanders.
They still got to play the Cowboys. They still got to play the Cowboys.
Still have to play the Cowboys. The rest of the games are divisional opponents. No matter how bad they are, they still have to play in division games on the road. That is very hard to do for any team, no matter who you are. No matter who you are. So, like I say, I'm not worried about these other teams. I just want the Lions to go out there and put one foot in front of the other, keep playing, strategize.
One game at a time. All right.
Seriously, that's it.
On that note, we're going to turn the page. Great segue, Jay, to we play Chicago today. Before we get into the keys, let's talk about the injury report. So Jay gave us the inactives. So Graham Glasgow is out. So I'll expect Awashika to start and Mahogany to back him up if something happens to Awashika. Let's see. I think everybody else that we expect is in. No Aleem McNeil. We talked about that. He tore his ACL, so he's out for the year. Get better, Aleem. Who do you expect to start against along with Reader? Levi
Onwuzurike or Pat O'Connor.
Oh, I forgot about Pat. Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one, man, because Levi's been playing a lot of end.
Yeah. I think they're rotating.
And Pat O'Connor's been playing well inside.
Yeah, I think on like obvious passing downs, I think they're going to put maybe Onwuzurike to help kind of aid a pass up, rush up the middle. But I mean, it depends, But I think that it'll be more of O'Connor than Onwuzurike.
Are you surprised Broderick's out?
No, I'm not at all, because Broderick Martin, I just don't see him. I haven't seen anything from him to think that he would be that consistent person that you can bring behind McNeil or Reeder. He's missed a lot of the season due to injury. He wasn't really that good last season. I'm not really
every time I hear about Broderick Martin from Dan, it's just up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And when Pat O'Connor is out playing you, and the guy who has been on this team for maybe 4 or 5 games, that just spells bad news for Broderick.
Yeah, it does.
I think that the point of the matter is with this one, it's not that Pat O'Connor is outplaying him, because he's not. He's a good pass rusher, but he sucks against the run. You can run all day on Pat O'Connor. I've seen that too many times this season. But I think they're disappointed.
Yeah.
They're probably disappointed with Broderick Martin because he's not playing up to what he needs to be playing to. And that's a disappointment right there in itself. So I think that's, I'm not a big Broderick Martin fan anyway. I didn't like the pick, but I trust the process. That's what
I mean, he's still got another, I think, a couple of years left in his deal. So, we'll see if he pops maybe next year. Man, I wish Wingo was healthy. Yep. I really would want to see Wingo play. I think Levi's gonna take a step up, man. I think this is Levi's time to shine. He is a 3-tech kind of dude. That's what they drafted him out of Washington, for that ability to be able to rush the passer. I mean, DJ is going to stay at his spot. He's going to be the plug inside. But I think Levi, man, this is Levi's time to shine, bro. I really do. I think he had some early success, and he's kind of tailed off a little bit. He's played solid, but I think this is his time. He's got to step up and really take on the mantle. Another injury we need to talk about. So Carlton Davis looks like he's probably out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Had a jaw injury. Dan did not seem like it's gonna be a situation where he's gonna come back. So TA is now your number 1 CB. And probably it's gonna be Vildor at 2. And then they're probably going to platoon Mosley in with Vildor, and then Meek's going to hold down the nickel spot, or maybe Branch moves down. I don't know. Branch is actually playing.
I'd argue that you may move Branch over the cornerback. Why not?
Possibly.
Back. Good safety.
And it's good to see Branch is playing today, because yes, he was questionable. He had a calf injury, but it looks like he's good to go.
Active.
So yeah,
that would probably because you really got 3 corners to play the CB2 position,
right?
And even back up to CB1 if Arnold decides he just isn't going to do good, but I don't see that happening. You got to remember that Chicago still has weapons. They still have the rookie. They still have DJ Moore. They still got what's his face, Fat Boy. Keenan Allen. Yeah, they got him. So, I mean, and then Keenan Allen was – you remember the last time that they played Chicago?
Keenan Allen tears us up all the time. So whoever's guarding Keenan Allen –
he's a good route runner. And I think that Branch would probably be good on him. And I think that's what they should do, because they do got Iffy coming back to play that safety role.
And Iffy could play CB too. He's played – I mean, he was –
I'd rather him play safety than play CB. Hell no, I'm not having him play CB. Okay. So anyway,
I do.
No, Amik, Vildor, and Mosley. Now they're probably going to sprinkle in Mosley a lot to get him game ready. So they need to put him in there, see how he works out. I swear, I hope he works out, because if Mosley works out and gets back to his San Francisco form,
Mosley could
killing
be a
people.
CB2, easily.
Oh, dude, he'll be easy. Yep, he'll take that CB2 spot, because that's what he was playing anyway. Actually, he was a CB1 for San Francisco.
Yeah, he was.
Got him. And then and all those injuries happened. So unfortunately,
let's talk about the secondary for a sec. Just some moves that happened before today. So Strickland got activated. He's now on the active roster. Jamal Adams he was repping with the safeties now, so they're going to put him at safety. Probably one of those situational kind of guys. Iffy is active, so good to see Iffy back. B-Joe got arrested, so he got released.
I don't think that would have had anything to do with that anyway.
No,
he was
but
going to get
B-Joe,
released because they needed to make room on the
well,
roster.
that's true, but
it probably did help a little bit, but at the same time, I think Lawrence Strickland has been playing pretty well too. Anyway, so
it just sucks. It just sucks to see because he had been playing. He'd been playing pretty good in situations, limited roles, and so wanted to see him develop. But hey, you know, make the decisions you make, and that's what happens. Yeah. How do we feel about the secondary right now without Carlton Davis?
I feel good.
You mentioned you feel good. Why you feel good?
You want to know why? Because we got every single defensive back on our team besides Carlton Davis, right? Like you got Melifonwu back, you got Emmanuel Mosley, you got Brian Branch, you still got Terry Arnold, you still got Kirby Joseph. With all of them being activated, that lets me know that they're preparing for an aerial attack.
They've got 3 receivers that they're gonna have to guard.
I don't think Chicago's going to want to run the ball really much today. They're going to do it in situational downs, but most of the plays will be passing because they've seen how thin our linebacking core is, and I think they're going to want to try to capitalize off of that. So, I mean, given that you got Jamal Adams, you still got, like I said, the other players that I named, I'm feeling good. I don't think that Caleb Williams is going to just go out here and dissect us like Josh Allen did. He's not Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's not. And like I said,
nowhere near.
And even though they have some good, like a lot of good receivers over there, you still got to be able to make the throw. Caleb Williams came up on a lot of short throws, especially when he's under pressure.
Yeah, but the question is, can we get the pressure like they got pressure on him? That's the thing.
Yeah. I'd say because they did it against Green Bay with no McNeil, right? Or DJ Reader. You did it against Green Bay, so I mean,
they generate pressure.
Pascal,
I think the other thing that's overlooked in the Buffalo game, Buffalo's offensive line was one of the best offensive lines we played. Yeah. And Green Bay's offensive line ain't shit. I'm telling you that right now. I mean, they're good, they're okay, but they're not anywhere near. Yeah. They're not anywhere as good as what Buffalo's offensive line. Buffalo's offensive line is like top 5.
And Chicago's purple offensive line.
Yeah, I'm not.
Caleb Williams has been sacked 56 times this season.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put pressure on him, no doubt. For me, it's just this is why you draft TA. This is if TA comes out and balls out the rest of the season, we're not re-signing Carlton Davis. Period.
Oh,
because Carlton wants to be a 1. And if TA goes out, let's hear me out. If TA goes out and balls out the rest of the season, why would you bring back a 1 CB when you've got TA that's going to be your 1? At some point, you figured that it was going to happen, that he was going to become the 1 CB1.
Well, I agree with that, but it's not like Carlton Davis is just firm and adamant on being just a 1. He's playing under Dan Campbell.
He wants to get paid like a 1, bro. He wants to get paid like a 1. No, don't.
Do you think with him getting this injury that he's going to get paid like a 1 now, knowing that he can't finish the season healthy?
I mean, it's a jaw injury, man. It can be fixed. Yeah. All I'm saying is he's going to want money. And then you've got to ask yourself the question, do you bring him back with the money that he wants, or do you roll the dice with TA, who you drafted and expected at some point to take over that CB1 role?
I will bring Carlton Davis back, and that's just depending on the type of money he wants. Because if you're talking about a big contract, good luck. Where are you going to go on a contending team that's going to pay you that
Somebody
money?
Will pay him. Somebody will pay him.
It's going to be a horrible team. A team that is trying to.
We've seen players go to horrible teams and get paid, bro. It happens all the time.
Well, to me, Carlton is mid anyway. He's a mid corner. He's a mid starting corner. It was cool that they signed him. I mean, I like what the Lions did in the offseason by getting the Meek Robertson, trading for Carlton Davis, drafting Arnold and Rakestraw. Mm-hmm. So that's fortified their corners. And you said, are we worried about the corner? No, we're not. We're not working about that's the deepest part of our team right now. That is the deepest part of our team. And you got to remember something. Rakestraw is coming back by the playoffs. So you got that's another corner that you have. You know, so I mean, you got all these damn corners all of a sudden, and if they don't, you know, knock on wood, if they don't get hurt, you know, and this has been a story that I every week we say this when, you know, a game is starting, does not have any injuries. I'm not even gonna say that no more, because every time I say that, we get 3 or 4 injuries. I ain't doing that no more. I'm not bringing that juju on them. No,
let's just hope for a clean game.
Let's hope for a win. That's what I want. Just a
that
win.
too.
Let's get a win.
But
I don't care.
But if I could be the devil's advocate for a sec on the secondary, I agree with y'all. This is the deepest the secondary has been, for sure. And then you add Jamal Adams into the mix, and if he's back, I'm worried about the inexperience that we have at CB. You know, with the rookie in Terrian, Mosley hasn't played in 2 years. Your most experienced guy is Vildor. You know, and Meek Robinson's played. I mean, he's played about 3 or 4 years. So Meek Robinson and Vildor are your most experienced cornerbacks. You know, so that's the only thing I'm worried about is the inexperience. You've got a lot of youth on that.
Arnold's been a CB1 quite a few times this year because CD's gone out injured. So and he's shut it down. He shut it down. He shut up in a couple games. He shut down that corner. Remember Jalen Reed? Who do you think was covering most of the time? It wasn't CD. CD didn't cover Jalen Reed all the time. It was Arnold. Arnold made sure he didn't get no damn catches. Oh. So he was playing Sub-Zero.
I mean, Arnold's been playing well. There's no doubt. Arnold has been playing well. A lot of people want to you know, give him crap because, you know, he's not balling out like Kenyon is or whoever else is playing CB as a rookie. You know, but Arnold's been doing his thing. My thing is that he's going to be targeted often in this game, a lot.
Into the territory.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's time to show yourself, and he knows that.
I mean, you know, he's been showing himself. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But he's going to be. But
the one that I'm worried about. If we're worried about corners, I'm worried about Vildor. Please don't put him in an area in a cornerback. But when Vildor shined, he shined basically in nickel court coverage. That's where you need to play Vildor. Vildor is great at that. Let Meek Robinson, even though I don't want him to be a CB2 either, but and Meek Robinson and Mosley handle that job. Bring Brian Branch up, like you said, to be a nickel, and have if he play the other safety spot.
If Vildor gets torched early, I would definitely see them putting Mosley in there because Mosley's more athletic. He's taller, and he's a baller. I mean, pre-injuries, this guy was balling out for San Francisco. Vildor is a liability at cornerback. I mean, you brought him back with the idea that he would never see the starting field again.
I don't think he's I don't think he's.
I mean, he's okay. Yeah.
If he's playing in his right position, then he's fine. You got to remember, Vildor is like the backup like Khalil Dorsey is, and both of them shine when they're playing in backup roles like they're supposed to be. And when they're starting, that's not going to happen. Khalil Dorsey sucks when they start. When he starts, Vildor's the same way. You can't have them starting. They got to come in to be backing up people, spell them out. You know what I'm saying?
The way I look at it is from this standpoint. Chicago's going to pass the ball. They're going to attack. They're going to attack TA. They're going to attack Vildor. They're going to attack Meek Robinson. They're going to attack us through the air, and that's
if they do that. That's going to be a dumb thing for them to do because if they ain't got no offensive line and they can't
run the ball.
Sacks.
So what else are they going to do?
Well, they can run the ball. You got to be surprised at that. That's the thing that I'm trying to tell you. They can run the ball. The Lions have been giving up some yards in the run game. They have been doing that in the last couple of games.
But they don't.
Josh Jacobs did it. James Cook had like 100 and something yards on us. I mean, he ran right up the middle on one play.
But time out. Where is Swift? Where is Swift compared to those two?
Cut above them, Swift.
Yeah, Swift's not an inside the runner type of guy. He's an outside type of dude.
I'm not comparing them to Swift to those running backs. That's not what I'm saying. You're saying that just they're going to pass the ball a lot. No, they're not, because they're going to run. They're going to establish the run. They're in Chicago. They have this confidence that they can run the ball. They can do things.
Well, good luck.
Because they're all landing on what happened last year, which is stupid for any team. And you know this team is going to be like that because they have no fucking leadership in that team. So
what
they're going to think
have the last game? What did he have? How many rush yards did he have the last game?
80 something yards, something like that.
No. I'm talking about against us when he played.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, 80 yards. Okay.
Yeah, he played
Yeah,
effectively, but that's when they had a defense too. You got to remember that.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Their
man, they're going to
defense
use
sucks.
Swift. They're going to use Swift to the passing game.
Sorry, he had
Screen
11
plays.
carries, 39 yards with 11 carries, but he
Okay.
did pretty good in a run pass game too, though. He had 35 yards too.
He's gonna if he hurts us, he's gonna beat the pass game. I'm telling you, they watched a lot of tape on how Ty Johnson tore up our linebackers. And all I was thinking in my head when I was watching that is like, oh my God, they're gonna do Swift in that same situation. Now, can Caleb hit him like Josh Allen did? Will be different, you know. But let's talk about the D line, because I think that's where the game's going to be won. If the D line can get constant pressure on Williams and not let him leak out of the pocket. But the question is, who do you think is going to lead that charge? Should be Desarius, right? Where was he the last game? DJ Reader?
I think it's going to be DJ Reader.
That'd be great.
It could be a number of players. All of them are like on the same level right now as far as how rushing the quarterback. It could be Smith. I mean, that's what you want. You want everybody to be on that same level because you don't know where it's going to come from. And hopefully AG understands that with his defensive line. I've seen him try to do a couple of times when he blitzes, and they're going to blitz this game. They didn't blitz a whole bunch against Buffalo. There was a reason for that.
You got to. Yeah, I agree.
But you got to blitz against Caleb. They didn't blitz against Josh Allen because Josh Allen is Josh Allen. You got
to blitz and get home. You got to blitz and get home, because if you don't,
but with that weak ass offensive line and Caleb being a rookie, you got no choice but to blitz. And what I need to do, what I really want to see from AG in these games coming up. I want to see how he needs to start stunt blitzing. Whenever we stunt blitz, man, we get to the quarterback. I don't understand why he doesn't keep staying with that kind of concept. It's like every now and then you see a stunt blitz and it gets to the quarterback. At least
he also
in his face.
To be fair, AG has said he goes by the game, by the team they're playing. Like, he's got a different scheme every time.
You listen to that coach speak shit, then you gotta no, dude. You got to do certain things. I don't care how the game plan goes. Now, if you're getting your ass kicked, that's a different story. But if you're playing at the beginning of the game, you got to do stuff to teams that they don't expect. That goes every game that they play. It's hard. That's why it's hard to be a defensive and an offensive coordinator in this league, because you have to surprise teams with stuff that's why Ben Johnson is good at his job. He surprises the defense, shit that you don't ever see hardly half the day. High school plays that are getting run on a professional field. Nobody expects that shit. So that's the reason why they're successful.
Yeah, but offensive coordinators are more creative than defensive coordinators are. Defensive coordinators are more stuck in their ways and on what they like to run. AG is going to run man defense. That's what he always loves to do.
Yeah.
The thing is with the defense is that you have to be careful, because if you blitz and you don't get home, you're leaving Caleb an open field running down the field.
Or the chance you take with any blitz. Every blitz ain't going to get to the quarterback. That's just the chances you take. That's just typical one-on-one football. That's just going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about any of that. They're not going to get to him every time they blitz. That's even if they had even if they have a scrubby ass offensive line, they're not going to get to him all the time.
I think you have to contain the pocket. Because when you watch. Minnesota did it so well, but the thing is Minnesota's got a lot of healthy ends. They got Dallas Turner, they got Grenard, they got whoever else, Ginkle, whatever. They got a lot of ends that they can rush the quarterback. But the thing is that the Lions are going to have to play contain in some aspects, because you've got to, like you said, you got to keep him in the pocket. We want Caleb throwing from the pocket. That's his weakness right now. He's getting better, but we want him doing that. We don't want him throwing off platform or running down the field or stuff like that. Like we said, Josh Allen, we need to keep him contained. We didn't do that. Mm-hmm. He got out of platform. He was making crazy ass throws and throwing dimes left and right. I don't think Caleb's there yet, but it's just a matter. The thing too about Caleb, we got to understand, he doesn't throw a lot of turnovers either. So it's kind of like a tough situation, because he's not turning the ball over. He's just not getting protected.
Yeah, but they ain't winning
Or
games.
he's not making his reads.
So that's the other point. That he's not winning games either. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
not,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that really doesn't make a difference to me if he's not getting turnovers.
Well, it's impressive.
You
for
can
a rookie
hit him.
not to turn
You
over
can
the
hit him
ball.
and get a fumble. I mean, interceptions aren't everything, and you can make them make bad decisions. That's what the defense has to do to any offense, is make them make bad decisions or make them think they're too confident to do something and then start.
And the Lions need to get some turnovers, man. Like that's one thing that the Lions, like when your defense is this depleted and it gives up a lot of yards, the equalizer is turnovers, and the Lions haven't got turnovers in a while. And they got to change that narrative, because the thing is that if this defense hopes to win, get to the big game, they've got to either get stops on third down, which they were doing really well until they ran to Buffalo, and they got to turn over the ball. Yeah,
they still lead the league in third down conversion. So.
Yeah, and they got to continue, because if you're not getting turnovers, you got to get off on the field. I mean,
the thing that's killing a defense right now with the injuries is the red zone defense. We've given up a lot of red zone touchdowns in the last 2 games, and that's because of the defense. That's because of the completed defense. And when you don't have everybody on the same page, when you had all the starters on there, they were stopping people in the red zone. Once you start losing people, that conformity didn't exist anymore. So now you got people running. It's like when we got those guys off the street. And there's people like Quan Alexander. I'm so glad his ass is inactive today, because that dude.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You just standing there like you got your hands in your pocket. That dude wasn't doing nothing.
Kudos to AG for doing that.
2 games.
Yeah.
He needed to come out.
Something that I just really want to see. I just want to see our defense be a little bit more aggressive. That's just what I want to see. I know our offense is going to eat, even with the Lions being outscored 48-42. Our offense is still the number 1 offense in the league. Yeah. I want to see Jahmyr Gibbs run the ball, break out for big runs. I want to see whoever stepping up, whether it's Craig Reynolds or Sione Baki. I want to see them kind of just pick up a little bit of the slack for David Montgomery. But most of all, I want to see that this team can get turnovers. We haven't had an interception in a couple of games. I want to see Kirby Joseph get a pick or so. I want to see them get fumbles, create fumbles. I want to see just an aggressive defense that's like, you know what?
We got to.
Y'all say defenses win championships and we aren't the Super Bowl favorite anymore? Okay, let's show how aggressive we are and how we can play. That's what I want to see from this team today. I don't need to see a blowout. A lot of people want to see a blowout, but a blowout doesn't mean
a blowout would make me feel good, because it'd be like, this is why we trust Dan, because he'll get his team ready and they'll come out and they don't lose back-to-back games. That's one thing.
I mean, a blowout is good. We would love to see it, but blowout isn't.
But it won't be. It'll be a close game, because it's a division rival.
Yeah, and a blowout won't tell everything, right? Because we know the Chicago Bears team is bad. But if like last week against the Buffalo Bills, we got our asses kicked. The score was 48-42, but it wasn't close at all. It was not close.
Yeah, it was within 10 points or 2 touchdowns.
Meaning, like if the Bills wanted to score, they scored. You understand what I'm saying? And we couldn't stop them on our team. Like I think they let us get a couple garbage time touchdowns. That's just me. I don't know
about that. I mean,
the Lions weren't really ever in it, and it came down to an onside kick, really, to end the game. They knew what they were doing.
Well, if that's the approach that Buffalo had, then they're not a good team, because good teams don't do that. They did exactly what the Lions do. They played the Lions like the Lions play everybody else. We're going to keep scoring. You got to try to stop us, and if you can't, which they did, they stopped us twice, so we couldn't score with them. It got to 35-14. We came back. That was just going to happen because we passed the ball. They have a decimated secondary. They're not going to be able to stop. And the corners that they got out there are jack shit. So if they had Rasul Douglas, this wouldn't even been a fucking close game. Because I think they would have had their starting defensive backfield, dude.
It wasn't close.
Corners.
It would have been. We were down 3 scores.
The thing is the Lions, they were one quarter too late. because if you take away that first quarter, the Lions probably make that a game, a really close game.
If we had an extra quarter in every game we lost, we probably win that game too. But
yeah, but Jay, when you get down 2 touchdowns,
they were
you
down
don't score
like 3 scores, and the Bills they imposed their will on our defense. And I'm not saying that they were just head and shoulders just better than we are. They
were.
They executed their game plan. They did what they wanted to do. The Lions couldn't.
Well, I mean, dude, Josh Allen's playing at MVP level. I mean, James Cook is balling out, man. I mean, take away that big run from James Cook, he didn't really do nothing the whole game.
Dalton Kincaid, all of those players went off. You know, and one thing that was really surprising to me was just how they stuffed our running game. That was surprising. Considering Kyron Williams and Blake Corum sliced them up the week prior, I was surprised that we couldn't get anything going on the ground.
Yeah.
It was crazy. You know, I seen the highlight of Von Miller. Von Miller even went out there and did great.
Yeah, I mean, the one I'll say that you mentioned those people is Ty Johnson. I mean, if you'd have told me Ty Johnson would have been their leading receiver with Shakur and freaking Coleman coming back and all those dudes, I would have been like, give me those dudes all day. No one saw Ty Johnson leading the team in receiving. This was obviously personal for Ty because he got released from the Lions. And, you know, anytime a player plays against his old team, he wants to stick it to him. But like B said, they attacked our linebackers, man. That's the first time we've seen that happen all season. And I hope this is not one of those like, oh my God, this is how we beat the Lions on defense, you know, because they're going to do it with Swift. I'm shitting you right now. They are going to throw Swift in that same kind of routes against our linebackers. That's why they took Quan's ass out. Now, my thing is, if you take Quan out, who's going to play against along Jack Campbell?
Jamal
It's going to be
Nowoski. You still got David Long.
Who do you want to see? Who do you trust in coverage? Who's even good in coverage?
That's hard.
That's nobody knows really because none of these people start all the time. So it's not.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
I guess
I'll find out.
Because
I know David Long's not good in coverage, so it'll probably be Nowoski or somebody.
Why? Because that's another homegrown guy right there. A guy that can. I think that he has a lot to prove, and I think that going up against DeAndre Swift will be kind of a big measuring stick for him. Mm-hmm. Can you stick with this guy? He's speedy. He's crafty. Can you stick with him?
Yeah, Nowoski's a big dude. I mean, you know.
Yeah. So I'll probably say Nowoski. But, I mean, who knows? Who knows the game plan that they'll have out there? I just want to see our defense be aggressive. If somebody gets open, quickly close the gap. Don't draw any penalties because for some odd reason, seem like Terry and Arnold and Brian Branch just gets a penalty every game. And after every game, Brian Branch gets fined. I just want to see our defense play clean but aggressive.
Tackling is going to be paramount. You brought up a great point because especially with Chicago, you can't give them extra yards.
No.
Like you get them on the ground, especially a guy like Swift. When you hit Swift, you hit him. If you don't wrap up, Swift can burn you, man. We've seen that in Detroit. He's got that ability.
Absolutely, man. And
what about, we've talked a lot about the defense, and I know Brian always says, I'm not worried about the offense, but Goff does tend to struggle against the Bears, especially on the road. What do you want to see from Goff today?
I want to see Goff protect the football. I want to see Goff make some tight window passes because that defense is still good in Chicago. We all know that. Jalen Johnson, right? Stevenson, got a couple guys back
Gordon,
there. Secondary. Yep. I just want to see Goff protect the football, make the throws that you make. Don't force anything. You know, if you have to check down 10 to 20 times in the game, so be it. Just protect the football. Don't give them any turnovers. Like, don't hand them any gifts because that killed us last game.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That's what I want to see from Goff.
I'm not worried about Goff. I'm worried about that offensive line.
Talk to you about the offensive line.
If your offensive line your offensive line doesn't protect Goff, Goff's going to make the mistakes because you can't you can't do that.
Yeah.
Goff has got to be clean in that pocket, or at least be able to have time to throw. That offensive line has got to do better in the first quarter. They have not done that in the last 3 games. Not. They didn't even do that good when they didn't do that good when they were playing like the teams they blew out. The offensive line struggled. Remember that Tennessee game? They got like 2 sacks in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee did because the offensive line was sleeping. They can't do that. You cannot do
the
that.
offensive line has come out flat early. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Panay needs to get them guys together and say, hey, fuck that. He's not worried about it because ain't nobody coming through him. He hasn't given up a sack all season. But he needs to tell the rest of the players that. I mean, Ziegler's actually taken a step back in the last couple of games too, and that's kind of telling you where the offensive line is going. And Ragnall's not been playing his best. Yeah. And Glasgow's going to be out this game. Yep. And Decker's Decker.
So I have a question for you guys. Are we seeing possibly the greatest tackle ever in Panay Sewell?
Yep.
Yeah? You think so?
One of the best.
One of the best, so not the best yet, but he's one of the best.
Yeah, he's one of the best. He ain't the best yet. Yeah. He's got the athletic ability none of those tackles ever had. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. That he's only 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's like 20.
I would love to see how, obviously in the Lions situation, not injury wise, I would love to see how he would ball out at left tackle too. Because I literally think he could dominate both sides. Mm-hmm. And you've never seen that from a tackle. Like even the greatest tackle in the NFL probably only played one side his whole career. To where I think Panay Sewell could ball out from the left and the right. Now obviously, as long as Decker's on the team, Panay's going to be your right tackle, which is fine.
And yeah, this guy is only going to get better. This guy is only 24 years old.
He's just got to. He's the linchpin of the line, man. He's the best lineman that we have, and like B said, the line has not played well lately, and needs to really get it going, because the reality is with the defense as depleted as we are in certain areas, the offense has to be on point almost every possession. We cannot have 3 and outs. We cannot have turnovers. We have to score touchdowns. We have to score points, because we're kind of in that back situation last year where the defense was bad and the offense had to keep scoring in order to win. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's reared its ugly head again. Until we get guys back, our defense is the weakness again. And we have to keep scoring touchdowns and points in order to win. If the offense is not scoring points, we're not going to win. Mm-hmm. Because now you're relying on a banged up defense to make stops
and get stops
with players that probably wouldn't be starting on other teams. Let's be real, So, and we got a lot of inexperience too. So, yeah, it's going to come back on the offense. The offense has to pick up the weight. The defense has done a really good job. There's 11 games, and minus the injuries, it's like, hey, we spotted you almost 10 games of good defense. You guys can pick up the rest of the season. It's going to have to be until we get more reinforcements. The good news is that Alex will probably be back for the playoffs, which is huge. People want to shit all over Alex Anzalone, but I'm sure as hell guarantee they'd have Alex right now in a heartbeat.
Yep. I've seen a report that said he is going to come back in time for the playoffs. So
yeah, he'll be back. He'll probably be back for the playoffs. I'm trying to think if anybody else might be back. Yeah, that's probably it. Just Alex. That's gonna be a big piece.
Kaminsky, hopefully he can come back.
No, Kaminsky's
out. Yeah, he's out.
He's done. Okay. I get.
It's just Alex, man. Alex, and then of course 97 if he comes back in the Super Bowl. He said he'd be there.
Rakestraw's another guy.
Oh, Rakestraw, yeah. Yeah, this is a great opportunity, man. If Rakestraw wasn't hurt, this would be a great opportunity for Rakestraw to get a lot of good game reps, man, because, man, I'd love to see him out there. But that's why you got Mosley. That's why you got Vildor. So We'll bring Rakestraw on slowly. So Rakestraw and Alex probably are the only players that are probably going to get back. But hey, anything helps. So.
Yeah. And Derek Barnes is out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Alex may be before the
CD's
playoffs.
out. Yeah.
Jalen Reeves is going to be out.
They
said he's not going to be
coming back.
They started his 21-day window. I thought.
Yeah.
They still got him on IR here.
Okay, they might not have brought him back, but they said he was going to start his 21-day window.
Oh yeah, he just started 20.
So yeah, Reeves will
he
be
won't
back.
play. He won't play. He didn't play. He's not playing today, obviously. But
Yeah.
they got him on there. And then let's see. A lot of people, you forget one thing. We're talking about who was going to line up at second. I'm looking at the defensive line. You're right. Levi could move in and be next to DJ because you remember they got Muhammad. They got Muhammad.
Oh yeah, they got Muhammad. I forgot about that.
And Muhammad's been playing his ass off. And I'd rather have him playing the outside and Pascal playing the other side and set the edge, and then have Pat O'Connor be the backup, in passing situations.
What about Zadarius?
Yes,
he'll be in there.
Watch,
like I said, Muhammad will probably switch off with him. That's probably what they're going to do is probably have Muhammad switch.
I would slide Pascal inside.
Bold prediction: he gets 2 sacks today.
Who's that?
Zadarius
Smith.
He always plays well against the North team, so that's very well could happen.
I think he's going to be overwhelmed.
He needs to, man. He was nowhere to be found against Buffalo. He was MIA.
Yep. Hey, fellas, I got to get off for like 5 minutes. I'm going to pick up some food before the game.
Okay.
So, I'll be
back.
back.
Give us your prediction? Or you said your...
Oh, no, I'll be back before.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. But I'll give you a prediction really quick if we're going to do that.
Yeah, because we're probably going to hop into some NFL talk.
Yep. So, my prediction is I think the Lions win in 31 and maybe 15, 16. I think the Lions handle the Bears pretty handily today. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs go off for a rushing touchdown. I think Sam Laporta gets a touchdown. And I think Amon Ross gets a touchdown. See how that goes. I think on the defensive side, I'm going to say Zadarius Smith, 2 sacks. I think Brian Branch gets a pick, and I also think Terrion Arnold gets a pick.
Dang. You said sack picks.
Yeah, because look at Caleb Williams. I don't think he's thrown an interception over the past how many games?
It's been a minute.
It's been a while. He hadn't had thrown an interception, so he's due for a couple. You're a rookie going up against.
I hope you're right, man. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yes, we are banged up, but you're going up against a veteran secondary in crunch time. He don't know what that feels like yet. He's going to experience that today. So give me the Lions 31-17.
2 touchdowns. Wow.
Probably trying to get off here early anyway because the game starts at 1. So.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So that's my bold prediction. But I'll be back. I just need to get some food.
All right, bro.
Camera off.
All right. Wow, he's got a 2 touchdown victory. Okay. Yeah, this is tough. You said it yourself. Division rivals are conference and division rivals are always tough because they all know each other. They've already played against each other. It would be nice to see the Lions come out, take care of business, and win kind of going away because I feel like the Bears have kind of been like that thorn in their side lately, and the Lions just continue to let them keep them in the game. And I think that, it'd be nice to see the Lions not have to deal with that today, but it probably will be that same situation. Unfortunately, because they just play them tough,
Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. You saw what Minnesota did to Chicago, right? Chicago's got the benefit of playing 3 home games in a row. They played Minnesota, they played to Detroit, and then they play another team at home next week. So they have 3 home games they're playing. And this will tell you everything you need to know about Chicago. Minnesota came in and kicked their ass. It started off a little bit slow, but Minnesota eventually kicked their ass. Minnesota, I kept telling you, when Eberflus left Chicago, I wanted to see how their defense did. Their defense has failed. They got their ass kicked by San Francisco, and San Francisco is a freaking IR mass unit themselves.
Right.
And then Minnesota came in there and kicked their ass, and it was a division. And they actually scored they scored 12 points in that game. Chicago did.
Well, Green Bay barely beat them too.
That was when they had a good defense. That's when they had Eberflus. I'm talking about after Eberflus. After Eberflus, they've actually dropped in every defensive category in the last 2 weeks. They've dropped down in every defensive category because they're not stopping nobody. They're not stopping the pass. They're not stopping the run. They're not doing what they were doing. Eberflus is there. They have a puppet defensive coordinator there right now. And unfortunately, and the offensive and the head coach is an offensive head coach, so he's not going to be clicking on the defense like Eberflus was doing.
Sure,
and that's what was keeping Chicago in these games is the damn defense. But if you don't know how to run a defense or call a defense, then there's going to be bad situations.
Or somebody knew that doesn't have there been a defensive coordinator. Absolutely.
And this is the reason why people, when you have really good players in this league, this is the differential between good coaches and good players. Good players make stuff happen on your team when you don't have a good defensive coordinator. That's how you know you have good players. When you have a defensive coordinator and you have a bunch of mediocre to above average maybe players, then you're gonna get that defense rubbing. Yeah. Obviously, these players aren't playing up to what they're supposed to be, and that means that the defensive players aren't stepping up. And you would think that would be like Sweat's not stepping up; he's not doing very good. With their two linebackers, Edmonds and who's the other guy?
The linebackers have probably been the strength of the defense. I would agree.
But they haven't been doing anything in the last 2 weeks either. So it all goes with whatever defensive coordinators matter in football games, and people think, if you don't have that. Can you imagine the offense without Ben Johnson?
Well, the coordinator's got to scheme the players or scheme the plays for the players.
You got to put your players. You know that because you know your players how they play, so you want to put them in the best situation. That's why the defensive coordinator for Chicago is just a puppet because Eberflus is calling all those plays. He knows his players,
right?
And you would think the defensive coordinator would have took notes on that situation and said, okay, he's going to call this here, he's going to call that, but no, he's not doing any of that. And then you got an offensive coordinator, offensive-minded head coach that's an intern on top of it. And then you got another offensive coordinator that's an intern on top of that. So your leadership is screwed in the first place.
It's a mess, man.
And that's why I want to see what Chicago's going to do after Eberflus left. Now, I didn't say Eberflus was a great coach either, but it's like Bill Belichick. You're a good coach at a certain position. And the only thing that makes your position better is the fact that your offensive coordinator is helping you out a little bit, or your offense is helping you out.
Well, they fired their best defensive coordinator, and the defense is the reason why they were winning games.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And when you do that to any team, it's gonna go back. Jets are a big part of that whole situation. When Salah left, he's a defensive-minded head coach. What happened to the defense of the Jets after he left? That's exactly what's happened to Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about Chicago. I'm more worried about San Francisco than I'm worried about Chicago. Okay. So I'm the only thing that the Lions got to get through is the cold thing, which is going to be warmer there than it's going to be here. It's supposed to get up to 35 there. It's only supposed to get up to 25 here. So I don't understand that situation.
I'm not worried. Yeah. The cold thing's a joke. I mean, the Lions practice in the cold. I mean, the thing is that, for me, it's just that the Bears are due for one at some point. I just don't want it to be this week.
They're not due for nothing. They're a crap organization. They deserve to keep losing, just like the Lions did. And until they get the shit right. And they're not going to beat the Lions. They're not going to beat the Lions. They might come close. They might be a touchdown away, but they're not beating the Lions today. No way. Dan Campbell ain't going to let that happen. The Lions ain't going to let that happen.
You heard that, world? B just said they're not going to beat the Lions.
They're not going to beat the Lions. There's no way.
Love it.
I mean this. I try to be a fair person as far as analytically with every football team. Okay.
Yeah.
And even though I hate the hell out of Chicago, I hate Chicago, period. The city, the teams, I hate all that shit. But I'm fair to a point. I understand that Caleb is getting better, but he can't get better if the team's not getting better. And the team doesn't get better. And that's what he's playing within himself. But
it's really hard to see how
if your defense is giving up 30 points a game
Yeah.
24 to 30 points, you're not winning those games. And
It's hard to see the
black.
dysfunction with everything going on for them to just turn it around in one game and win. So I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's more of an off-season type of thing you need to change. All right. Well, before we get into our predictions and wrap the show up, any NFL talk, any NFL thoughts, any games you like or what? Some good games today.
we had some good games the last 3 games. We had Kansas City. Oh, by the way, apparently Josh Allen has been playing with a broken left hand most of the season.
It's crazy.
Let's get the quarterback drama drum roll going. He's trying to make his case for MVP. Real, that's what happens when they are in a case. You notice these quarterbacks
he's already
always reveal these injuries
mm-hmm.
at the end of the season when they're in the MVP race.
He's already MVP. He's already MVP. Yeah,
I had a hurt knee for most of the season. Man, shut your ass up. You shouldn't even be MVP anyway. You ain't even got no stats. Anyway,
he's MVP.
And the only reason why I say Josh is MVP right now, and he still don't have better. He don't have better stats than Goff does. He don't.
No, but he has rushing touchdowns, and that matters too. And unfortunately, Goff just needs to learn how to run some touchdowns in.
No, you don't need to know how to do that. Stay the way you are, bro. Don't try to be everybody. Pocket quarterbacks are a dime a dozen now, and that's what wins your Super Bowls.
It's true.
I haven't. The only guy that's ever won a Super Bowl that was that mobile, basically, is Kermit the Frog. Other than that, and he's another one. Oh, my leg is hurt. I have a, and then he comes out there and blast Houston. Dude, stop being dramatic. Your ass ain't hurt. Shut up. You're trying to be like Taylor Swift. That's what you're trying to be. You're trying to be.
But
dramatic.
to be fair, this was the best I've seen Josh Allen play against us. Like this is the best he's played in his career. Like he looks.
I don't think this was actually. I think he played better against the Rams. I think he played a lot better. I think the reason why he played so much better against us because our defense was depleted. So it's gonna be that way. You're gonna take advantage of what you can take advantage of. True. And that's why I'm saying that Joe Brady caught a good ass game in the beginning of the game because he went after the weak ass linebackers, and that's what you got to do.
This is the best Josh Allen's played. But this is the best Josh Allen's played his career, like this season.
Well, I mean, he's been playing like this a whole bunch of times, but the problem is, he's the problem with the NFL is, and analysts included, they go by wins and losses. They go by who did you beat in the playoffs, or you got a Super Bowl, and these are things that suck because it's not fair to the quarterback or the individual running for MVP. Period. You got your whole team arrested. It's what you do to elevate your team. That's what the MVP is. I think Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow basically is the MVP to me, but because he has his team sucks around him.
Yeah,
the dude's been sacked like next to Caleb. He's probably been the second or third most quarterback sacked, and he's still putting up numbers. He leads the league in yards and he leads the league in touchdowns. But yet he ain't an MVP because of the wins and the losses. And that's
who's more valuable. Who's more valuable, him or Saquon?
Who? Josh?
Or no, Joe or Saquon?
Joe. If Joe falls out, if Joe gets hurt, and that team is really bad. They're not even getting close.
You think the Eagles are winning at a high rate if Saquon's out?
Yep, they got games. I mean, Saquon is the guy that puts you over the top. That's why Philadelphia signed him. He's the guy that if you get in the Super Bowl, he's the guy that's going to be able to get you over the top. Their running backs that they had, and this is where they got rid of Swift because Swift wasn't that guy to get him over the top. Gaineswell has always been playing well. They got another running back too that plays pretty good. So when I watch
the Eagles play, man, Saquon's not balling out. They usually don't look good at all. Like Hurts looks very pedestrian. He still does look pedestrian, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but he's another one they're talking about MVP. No, you're not an MVP, dude.
Hell no.
And all that bullshit you're talking about, you had a problem with the problem with players is they're so full of F, full of shit. Because he's going to say they didn't have any problems, him and Jay. Oh, we didn't have any problems. Well, people just don't say shit all the time just to be saying stuff about the locker room. obviously
It's
a player
football,
in
man.
there.
Not everybody gets along with everybody. It's just
Right.
It's
I mean,
like,
that's what
it's
you
like
should have
family,
said.
you know?
That's what you
Yeah.
should say. And if you got a whole bunch of other players chiming in on it, on top of it, there's a problem. So what's the issue? Just say, I don't have to like him, but we like each other on game day because we trying to win the game. That's what you need to be saying.
Let's have a quick debate, B, because I asked this question in the chat to y'all, and no one ever gave me an answer. Do you think podcasts are good for players to have during the season?
I don't have no problem with it. I I watch them.
I do because a lot of shit gets aired out in the locker room that should stay in the locker room, and people air it out in their podcast. And I think that off season, sure, you can have your podcast, you can do whatever you want to do, but during the season, there should be a ban on podcast.
I don't think it's in that. I think you see too many negative ones. I see a lot of positive podcasts. Like for instance, I'm not a big Travis Kelce fan because I think he's an idiot. But anyway, he's a clown sometimes. But at the same time, I like his brother more. But they have a podcast and they don't air any laundry about each other's team. When they were playing on Philadelphia and Kansas City at the time, they were doing podcasts, and they didn't air out any of those kind of things.
Maybe they should have like a thing where you
that.
Can't say. Maybe they have a thing where you can't say what happens in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it depends on the individual person too, because they're still all people, and all people have their opinions, and all people gossip.
Sure.
It depends on the person.
But when you're playing for a professional team, there should be just like social media.
When you're paying for any team, you shouldn't be saying stuff. I understand that. That'd be a good call. That'd be something they could put in their contract. But and not to say they can't have a podcast. You can have a podcast. This don't be airing shit out because as soon as you air shit out, we're fining you. You ain't playing the next game. That's how it's going to work. That's what they should do. That way, because social media is out of control. It's out of control.
Especially in
people
sports.
take things the wrong way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this whole sky's falling thing, and I'm do this right here. This is exactly what I'm saying about these
schools, man.
All these Lion bandwagon fans, all this national media talking about the Lions are done because they've lost so much. I don't see how they're going to do anything. Man, shut your ass up. This is the problem. You all don't know what the Lions are. You have not been in their locker room. You do not know. Why do you think that the fan base jumped off after one game? Because they were bandwagon fans. Bandwagon fans are used to the Lions being crappy anyway, and they only jump on the bandwagon when they're winning. So they don't jump on the bandwagon when they lost the game. All of a sudden, they're 12-2. There's only 3 other teams in this NFC.
I know that's what I'm saying. Why do you think that they did that? Because when you're 12-2 and your last loss was week 2, like
right?
Why do you think they just had that shift?
And it kills me because in the same instance that they're talking about the Lions and they're 12-2 and they fairly got a pretty good schedule coming up as far as winnable games, you got the Green Bay Packers. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen these people talk about the Green Bay Packers going to the Super Bowl.
Preach.
Dude, you lost twice to the Lions, lost once to the Minnesota Vikings. You ain't getting to no Super Bowl if you can't beat your own division rivals. Hell no. And then you lost to the Lions when they had a decimated fucking defense.
What cracks me up on that point too is I saw some power rankings come out. I don't know who it was. They put power rankings out and they put the Vikings ahead of the Lions. I'm like, we beat the Vikings already. We're probably gonna beat them again.
Well, is this the same thing about the power rankings that came out this week that come out from legitimate sources like NFL.com?
Yeah.
I have one that I do every week. And I put Buffalo at the top because they beat Detroit and they beat Kansas City.
Sure.
Then I put Kansas City next because at the time they were 13-1. And then I put Detroit because first of all, and then I put Philadelphia. And people say, well, you should put Philadelphia ahead. Why? Because you're going on the assumption that just because their defense is not all together that they're going to lose every game.
Strength of schedules, I can just argue that one right there. The Lions had a stronger schedule than the Eagles did.
And the Eagles ain't proven nothing to me until they surpass certain things. And in Minnesota, I got after the Philadelphia because Detroit beat Minnesota. So you can't. People are just I'm not trying to be biased in the situation. I look at the Lions for who the Lions are. And fortunately, because I'm a Lions fan, I understand what the team is about. unlike some of these analysts and other podcasts that get out here and think they know that they, about the Lions that don't, not a Lions fan or are part of it. They do all kinds of football stuff. That's fine. But I'm not going to say what teams do what. But if you admit that this Lions team is completely different than any Lions team that you were ever a part of, they have a different philosophy. They have a different culture. We can get on here and say, oh, it's not like 4 years ago we can get on here and say, oh, yeah, Lions are winning that game confidently. We'd be out here saying, well, we hope they win.
Yeah,
now we know they're going to win.
You go from hoping to win that you're going to win, and I think that's right. What they brought Dan Campbell in for that mentality is that you go in. I think he loves to say this: whatever it takes to win. A matter of it's 1 point, whatever. You better have more 1 point better than the other team. Whatever it takes to win, and I think that's the mentality Lions fans have to go with. Whatever it takes. Sometimes it's going to take injuries to get the win. Hey, it's got to happen. It's just the nature of the game. Any other NFL talk? Any other games that excite you are going on?
Let's see.
Any hopes for prayers today outside of our game?
Kind of like what was one game? The Philadelphia-Washington game will be good.
Yeah.
I do think Washington's going to play a lot better than I want to see Washington if they're going to take that step to be a powerhouse in that division. They have to beat Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
I think
and if they win, they have a chance to get in the playoffs too. So there's a lot at stake for them.
I think they're going to get in the playoffs anyway. They're 8-5 or 8-6, something like that. So I mean, they're good. I think they might be 9 and something. Let's see.
9-5.
9-5. They're 9-5. So they're good. I don't see them not making the playoffs, but at the same time, I also see them. They need to get that. If you're going to be playing with the big boys, you got to beat the big boys. In Philadelphia, as much as I don't like to admit the certain fact, they are a good team. They're a very good team. They're like the Lions with the depth and everything like that.
They're 12-2, man.
They're 12-2 too. So
yeah.
And let me see. I'm not worried about the Minnesota-Seattle game because unfortunately, I think Minnesota's going to win that game because Seattle.
I'm holding out hopes that Seattle wins, but yeah, Minnesota probably will win.
The interesting game that I'm thinking about is the Tampa Bay-Dallas game because Tampa Bay's been playing lights out. They just got done beating the Chargers' ass the week before.
Dallas quietly is trying to make a run.
3 games, yeah. They ain't going to get nothing. They're going to be out of the playoffs. If Tampa beats them, they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah. But they're playing spoilers. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But other than that, really nobody. I'm just really kind of interested in the Lions game. That's it.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up and let's talk about predictions. So, give me your prediction. Give me your offensive MVP, your defensive MVP, and a bold take.
Go. I'm going for 30-20 as the score. My offensive MVP is going to be Goff. My defensive MVP will probably be Kirby. I think Kirby's going to do some stuff this game.
All right.
I really do. I'm not going to go out there.
He'll lead the NFL in interceptions. So
I'm not saying he's going to get interceptions, but he's going to make some plays. He's going to make some plays that turn this game, in the Lions' favor, definitely. Okay. Bold take. I think that the Lions get at least 2 turnovers off of Caleb.
Ooh, you and Jay really think they're going to hit the turnovers.
Turnovers, I'm not necessarily mean interceptions, but if they hit that dude and they're coming from a side and coming from a blind side, which most of the time that's where the blitzes are coming from now, because that offensive line can't pick up anything. They can't pick up a piece of paper, much less pick up a blitz. So they hit that guy. He might, he might have a tendency, and it's cold outside too. Now Caleb's from USC. Well, like I was telling you about Arnold. Arnold says he don't like playing in cold weather. What player does that comes from a southern state? I mean, I don't like playing in cold weather, and I'm a cold weather person. So that
I like cold, but I'm in Texas, and we get down to 30 here, and I'm like, whoo, it's too cold for me.
See, there you go. So
Yeah.
and he's got to deal with the same thing. You know, he's a USC guy, so he's used to dealing with warm weather. So I mean, it goes either way. He gets hit the right way, and that cold gets to his fingers or to his arms or whatever. Hit him the right way, get that little stinger, that little cold sting going on. He'll lose a couple of balls.
Put him on his ass, man. That's all I got to say. Just like they did last week. All right. I'm going to say a little closer. I'm going to say 31-24. Lions, of course. MVP will be for offense will be, man, going back and forth on this one. I'm going to say Sam Laporta. I think Sam Laporta has a good game. I think, like I keep saying, Sam Laporta is coming along and he's playing better. I think this is another good game for Sam Laporta. Give him 2 touchdowns. Let's see. Defensive. I'm going to go Za'Darius. I think Za'Darius, he loves to play against his rivals. I think he gets 2 sacks in this game. 2 big sacks, maybe a forced fumble, which would be even better. And my bold prediction. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
TA gets a pick 6.
Here you go with the damn.
He's got to do it at some point,
3 weeks
man.
in a row, Nate. 3 weeks in a row, bro.
I'm going to speak into existence. He's got to do it, man. I think this is first start. This is second start, or how many starts he has this season? 2?
He had about 3.
3, okay. Third time's the charm. Third start, he's going to get at least a pick. Pick 6 would be beautiful because that would be points. Mm-hmm. But I think TA is going to ball out, and I think he's going to really show the Lions fans this is why you drafted me. CD who?
I mean, I get that. I mean, we want that to happen for TA, but I can't predict that until he gets an interception. To me, I'm not going to.
That's why they call it a bold prediction, man. How awesome would it be for his first pick to be a pick 6? I can't telegraph that better. But yeah, the reality is, just wrapping this up, the reality is there's a lot of players on this team that are going to have to step up in bigger roles. TA, Gibby, Tim Patrick, Awashika, Nowoski, Mosley. Like, there are a lot of dudes that wanted this opportunity to get there, and now here they are. Levi, another guy. It's time to show. That's all I gotta say.
Yep. And the other thing that I wanted to point out about on the NFL note, Penix is starting, or I call him.
Yeah, I saw that.
But he's starting. I want to see how he does for Atlanta.
Yeah. It seems like the Falcons are done with Kirk. They're not going to pay him his bonus. I think that he'll be cut.
Well,
there was a meme showing that he's like that. That little meme where they're waiting behind the tree, and Kirk was waiting behind the tree. He's like watching Anthony Richards struggle. That might not be a bad situation, actually, if you think about it.
Well, I mean, a lot of people question that draft pick by Atlanta because they needed so many other things.
Yeah, that one.
But Atlanta's still in the thick of a playoff race. I mean, if they win this game, which is highly possible that they can win this game, I mean, they're going to be, the front office is going to look brilliant because if Penix comes out there and shows his ass and he continues to do that for the remainder of the season,
they're loaded.
They're going to look like freaking.
They got London, they got Algier, they got
Robinson,
they got
Pitts. Yeah, they got a talent back there. Their offensive line isn't too bad either. They're not as good as they were last year, but they're not bad. They're not a bad offensive.
And when was Penix that successful? When he played for Washington, he had all those guys, Adunze, Millen, all those stud guys in offense. So you just throw.
He's not a bad quarterback either.
No.
And people say he was probably the best quarterback in the draft. I kind of think Bo Nix was, but Penix was second. But at the same time, we'll see. I mean, he's going to get his first NFL start. I hope the best for him. I hope he does really good because, that's always something a rookie quarterback wants to get off their back is that first game.
How crazy would it be is if he led him into the playoffs?
That would be crazy because Tampa Bay is playing like way up here. Baker Mayfield. that's Baker motherfucking Mayfield right now. He is throwing.
Yeah,
dimes.
but if the Bucks lose tonight for some reason and the Falcons win, that battle just becomes a lot more closer.
Well, Tampa Bay still got the lead because they beat the Falcons, so it's.
But
yeah.
don't they have to play again to each other?
Let's see.
I think they have to play one more time. Or maybe they did.
I think they played twice already. I'm
okay.
thinking, but I'm not sure. Let me check because I'm. See, they play.
Lions fans are wearing bear trap hats. God, I love that.
They beat. Oh, they lost to the Falcons once.
Okay, so
yeah, that's the only time they played the Falcons.
So they.
Oh no, they played no. Let's see. Hold on. Oh shit! Yeah, they got to keep winning. You're right because the Falcons beat them twice.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the Falcons have the tiebreaker. So there you go. Yeah,
ain't that a bitch? They get beat twice by Cousins, and now you got Penix up there. Oh, wow! All right, Tampa Bay.
It'll be fun to see. But all right, B, we're gonna wrap up the show, man. Hey, it was a good show, man. Let's go get the dub, one game at a time. We got 3 left. Just take care of this one, and then on to the next one.
Yep. All I want for Christmas is a Lions W.
Let's go. I want all for Christmas is a #1 seed.
There you go.
It's crazy because back in the day, this would be the last game of the year, but because of the extended season, we got 2 more games. So go figure.
Yeah. And then for New Year's, that's what I want, the #1 seed, because that game will be after New Year's. But anyway,
true.
Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, B. Merry Christmas to your family. Merry Christmas, Jay. Everybody, y'all enjoy. Happy holidays. And as always, fuck the Packers, fuck the Vikings, fuck the Bears. We're out.
Most definitely.
Happy holidays. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
We some lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening. Time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions.